Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll help the channel out and it'll get you more videos like this. Let's get to it. And our first one comes from Tough Friend Date Issue. Am I in the wrong for going on a date night with my wife's friend? I went out for dinner with one of my wife's friends last week when my wife was out of town. I want some honest opinions if I did something wrong here, and how big of a trouble am I in? So, to give the full context, my wife was away for a week visiting her parents. She has a friend named Amanda, who she's been friends with for many years. Amanda had a rough patch, where she broke up with her boyfriend and lost her job. My wife has been supportive of her. Last week, Amanda had an interview and asked my wife if she could give her a ride home from the airport. As my wife was out of town and my office is near the airport, my wife asked me if I can give her a ride on my way back from work. I did not have any plans, and I agreed. Oh, OP. I mean, I get it. Your wife is, being nice to you, but man, it feels like a little baby bird walking into a wolf's nest. Amanda and I are not really friends, and I only interact with her when we meet socially. I told Amanda to message me when her flight gets to the airport, and I can pick her up. I pick her up around 6 p.m., and we're driving home. We're just having small talk about the new company she started interviewing at, and her work in general. Amanda told me she does not have any food at home, and if we could stop by a drive-thru so that we can pick up some food. I was also hungry and suggested that we stop by somewhere and have a quick dinner before I drop her home. She agreed and started searching for places on the way. She punched in an address to a restaurant on the way and we drove to that place. We did not know this, but this place was pretty fancy Italian restaurant. She said this looks too fancy, and I said we're already here, so let's eat. I messaged my wife that we were getting dinner and she said okay. We had a pretty fun evening and had a nice dinner. She had a few drinks and I did not since I was driving. We generally never talk much, but she opened up to me and had a very nice chat. I never knew Amanda and I had so much in common and liked the same music and movies. I did not notice, but we were at the restaurant for an hour and a half. Amanda was taking pictures during the dinner and also asked the server to take a picture at the end of the meal. Oh, that's cringy. Don't do that. Don't bring people into that stuff. I dropped Amanda home. She gave me a quick hug and said thanks for such a nice evening. I called my wife and told her I dropped Amanda and I'm heading home. She seemed busy and I just let her know. Reached home and said goodnight. This is where things got a bit weird. Amanda messaged me around 8 p.m. saying thanks for the ride, and she had a good time. She sent me our picture together. Oh boy. I saw the message and just liked it to acknowledge it. Later that night, Amanda shared some of the photos from our dinner on her Instagram, including our photo together, and captioned it as a dinner with a friend. I'm not friends with Amanda on Instagram, and I did not see it. Next morning, my wife called me and asked how my date night with Amanda was. I laughed it off and thought she was teasing me, but my wife sounded pissed off and kept asking me about all the details, like when I got home, which I was happy to provide. That night, my wife called me again and told me that Amanda told her about the night before. The issue was Amanda made the dinner sound way more nicer than what it was. Oh, that... OP, get away from her, she's up to no good. She kept on praising me for how I was a gentleman and treated me better than most of her dates. Run, 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 that woman's gonna try to destroy your marriage. How I'm a good listener, paid for the whole thing, etc., etc. I feel Amanda also added fuel to the fire by telling my wife all the wonderful things I did for her during the evening. Yeah, she did. She's trying to burn your whole marriage down, OP. Run. My wife feels I should have asked her before inviting Amanda to such a fancy place for a romantic dinner. Yeah, I agree. I bet she thought you guys were going to stop by like a drive-thru, like a McDonald's or a Jack in a Box. I was gonna say the other name. Jack in a Crack. I think you can say that, right? Yeah. I don't think YouTube's that far gone yet. But yeah, fancy dinner restaurant is probably not what she was thinking. She was also pissed that hundreds of people liked Amanda's posts on Instagram. And she feels disrespected that her husband is going on a date night with her single friend when she was out of town. She also jokingly asked how much our good night kiss was, and I told her it was just a hug. That seemed to make her angry. Why the fuck would you say that? I mean, I get it, she might use that as fuel against you, but oof, jeez. I have not even told her about the late night message from Amanda, and me liking the picture with a heart emoji, because I'm too scared at this point. Yeah, I don't blame you, OP. I'd be scared too. You're throwing fire onto that fuel too. I wanted to ask if I was wrong to invite Amanda for dinner when the both of us were starving and it was dinner time. Do you think my wife is wrong in overreacting to all of this? I was just being nice to her friend, who she asked me to drive home. I also communicated with my wife all through the night, and she seemed okay with it at the time. She only got offended after she saw Amanda's Insta post. Should I call Amanda and tell her to talk to my wife and explain that it was just a friendly meal and I was not being inappropriate? Okay, OP, I'm gonna say you're not in the wrong because you didn't have any evil intentions or bad intentions, but you did put yourself in a bad spot going to a fancy smancy restaurant. Who takes someone's friend to an expensive restaurant, the romantic looking one? I bet you your wife, like I said, thought you guys were going through a drive-through, you're gonna get a burger or something, then you drop her home. I bet you that's exactly what she thought. And yeah, it looks bad when your significant other is out there on a date and just flaunting it. And yeah, it's disrespectful. So I'm gonna say yeah, you're in the wrong. Because if you had just done a drive-through dinner, she wouldn't have taken any of the pictures and it wouldn't have started all this. But she did that on purpose. And she's stirring the pot, OP. Stay away from that woman. You need to talk. And don't ask Amanda to tell her anything. That's just going to piss off your wife even more, having her stick up for you. That's going to make it look like you two are like together and you're going against her. You know what I mean? That's the way she's probably going to take it. You need to talk to your wife, sit her down, explain everything, and apologize because, yeah, you did put yourself in that situation. Kind of, by going to that place. If you guys had went to like a McDonald's, I doubt she would have given a crap. But and I don't blame you 100% because your wife did say, "Hey, can you pick up my single friend?" Which I'm sure your wife knows you're not going to do anything because she was fine with asking you that. It just, it's the way it looks to the others, and it does look like you're being disrespectful and cheating on her. But I know you're not. But I'm just saying, I get why your wife is pissed. Do not ask Amanda to do anything for you. Do not talk about Amanda or bring her up. OP, tell your wife and that when you have that sit down with her, hey, we need to cut this woman out. A trip to get some food she basically chucked a couple grenades into your marriage, and she has no problems doing that because she knew what she was doing when she posted that picture saying all the gentlemanly things about you. OP, kinda not in the wrong, but you guys need to ditch Amanda. She is going to be a problem. And our next one comes from Dry Quality 1683. My 26-year-old female husband, 29-year-old male, bought a car while I was hospitalized. I am full of resentment. First of all, it sucks to talk about this because it's such a sensitive topic. So trigger warning if you're uncomfortable with pregnancy loss. Last week, I was hospitalized because I had severe back pain. While at the hospital, I found out I was miscarrying. I don't even know I was pregnant since I was having my periods just fine. I tried to keep myself together and texted my husband to let him know what was going on. At the ER, they tell me to go back in 2 days for blood work and to ensure my body is doing what it's supposed to do. At the time, I'm feeling horrible. This situation is triggering a miscarriage from 2021 that ended up being a DNC, which I've never been able to address with my therapist because of how bad it affects me. Oh man, I'm so sorry for you. He knows what I'm experiencing and supports me by taking care of our children while I'm at the hospital. During the 2021 miscarriage, he was completely absent while I was going through all this by myself. Holy crap, how? How could he do that to you? I couldn't do that. That would eat away at me. I was hoping this time he'd be different since he was aware of how I felt back in 2021. When I followed this up at the ER, they tell me that my body is supporting the pregnancy and the fetus is growing. However, they can't see it, meaning it implanted somewhere else and puts me at high risk, eternal bleeding, etc., etc. Oh man, I didn't know it could be somewhere else. Wow, okay. While I'm trying to communicate all of this with my husband, I get emails saying I was pre-approved for a car loan. WTF? WTF? So I tell him that it's not a smart purchase, and I don't support it, and I don't agree with it. He's barely about to start a job that earns 1/3 of what I can make and can't afford that car. He tells me that his whole paycheck is gonna go towards the car so he can pay it off ASAP and whatnot. You got kids to feed, you got mouths to feed, man. You can't just go buying a new car. If you save, it sounds like he might make okay money, maybe save up 7K, 10K and go buy a used car that's in really nice condition that's new to you. But no, buying a new car is such a stupid thing. I guess if you have a ton of money, fine, but you know what I mean? As soon as you buy it, it's gonna degrade, it's gonna go down sale. You got all this stuff you gotta deal with, and bro, your wife is in the hospital. Why are you not worried about her? Why are you buying a new car? I tell him to go ahead because I'm out of it, struggling with my mental and physical health. Fast forward to this past Saturday. I had an emergency surgery where they removed the ectopic pregnancy, my fallopian tube, a cyst that confirmed I was bleeding internal. Oh my god, that's so scary. Because the pregnancy had burst. How did I make it? For how long was I bleeding? Who knows? Oh my god, OP. Ugh. This is sending chills, man. I'm a mess. I feel lonely, lost, and disappointed. And I'm open about my emotions with my husband, friends, and family. Oh my god, you poor thing. Monday, I could barely walk, but we went to get his car. That's gonna be 70% of his paycheck. He still went to get that freaking car when his wife was internally bleeding. Oh my god. I'm in disbelief. If my wife was going through something like this, I'd forget about everything else in order to support her. Am I in the wrong for wanting to quit on him? No, OP. No, you're not in the wrong, because what you said in that last part, if I was in that situation, this is me talking, and the love of my life had internal bleeding, going through, losing the child, all that's emotional, physical, that's horrendous. I'd be there with bells on. Anybody would. That's just the right thing to do. OP, I really don't think he cares about you, because when you were going through some horrendous stuff, he was just like, I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna put like 70% of my paycheck. I mean, I have kids and I gotta worry about bills, but screw that. I'm buying a car. That is a demon. That is a demon. Normally, I don't divorce. Divorce, like, he showed you his true colors. He does not give a crap about you. Take the kids, and normally I'm, on the man's side, usually with divorces and stuff. But in this case, that is a demon. Get away from that, and you bleed him dry. You take everything from him, and you make sure he has to sell that effing car to pay you. OP, you are not in the wrong, and I am so sorry for all the crap you had to go through. And our final one comes from Mr. Ebony Black. Am I wrong for stopping a fight between my wife's family members and now questioning our marriage? I was at a family gathering with my wife and her extended family this past weekend. At one point, a heated argument broke out between my wife's brother and her father. It quickly escalated, with both of them yelling and getting in each other's faces. No one else seemed to be intervening, so I decided to step in and physically get between them to separate them and calm the situation down. I told them both to calm down and that I was sure whatever they were arguing about was ridiculous. After some resistance, they eventually backed down and went to their separate ways to cool off. Later that night, my wife told me that while she appreciated me stopping the fight from getting physical, it wasn't really my place to insert myself in a family dispute like that. She said I should have let them work it out themselves or allow other family members to handle it. I understood her perspective, but I felt like the situation was getting out of hand and someone needed to be de-escalating it before it turned violent or caused a bigger scene. As her husband, I thought it was appropriate for me to step in, especially when no one else was doing so. We are married, and they are now my family too, right? So Reddit, am I wrong for inserting myself into a heated argument between my wife's brother and her father? Should I have hung back and allow it to play out for her other family to address it? Why would I not count as a member of her family? What does this mean to you? Or was I justified in stepping in to defuse the situation when it seemed no one else would? OP, if you're getting along with your wife, I don't think you should question your marriage. I suggest taking her advice. Now I see where you're coming from, so I'm going to say you're not in the wrong. You saw a fight, you tried to de-escalate it, no, it's smart. That's a smart thing to do. That's a wise thing to do. But it's your wife's family, and she said to let them, beat the hell out of each other. So if I were you in that next time in that situation, just let it happen. Whatever happens, it's not your circus, not your monkey, OP. So no, you're not in the wrong, but next time, just let it happen. Thank you for making it to the end of the video with me. And can you please do what I said in the beginning? And like, comment, and subscribe. It really and truly does help the channel out. It helps it grow, and it helps you get more videos like this. Velvet out.